Hey everyone, so this week we're talking about gender stereotyping in toys, and I think the gender divide of toys has been something that always really irritates me, mostly because it really subtly reinforces what society wants in a boy and what they want in a girl. I think it doesn't really give that much of an option in terms of gender expression and being anything other than a stereotype when you're really little. Like, I walked into a toy shop and it's split down the middle. There's blue on one side, pink on the other, and you know, on the blue side there's all this action building toys and racing and war games and things like that. On the other side there's caring, nurturing games. There's dolls, there's cookery, like mini stoves and like dressing up games and things like that. And I think it's just really frustrating that we've kind of limited our children to this or that. I find it quite scary, to be honest. And I think if a boy wants to be nurturing, like how can he express that? And if a girl wants to be creative and active, where's the option for her to do that? I think things have got better. Like in the past, I'm sure it was even more sort of split, but it's still pretty bad. Like, it's still really sort of segregated by gender, which toys you get. If you show a child a doll and say, is this a girl's toy or a boy's toy, you're gonna get a definite answer. I think it stifles children a lot, and you know, we can see the effect into later life. We wonder why there are so few women in mechanics, or why primary school teachers always tend to be female. The toys that you're given at a very young age can sort of influence you and sort of how you see yourself and how you see your own gender. What's really frustrating, as well as there being a divide, is that the skills and the traits that are sort of learned by playing with boys' toys are typically more valued in society than the skills and traits learned by playing with girls' toys. You know, women are sort of expected to be nurturing and stuff in the first place, and so don't get any brownie points if they are good mothers, or if they are good at cooking, or if they are good at cleaning or whatever. That's just expected of them. Whereas if a boy is really active, if a man is, you know, really sporty, or if someone's a mechanic, someone's a builder, someone's an architect, that is way more like celebrated than the sort of the nurturing role. I think the fact that these sort of boy traits are more valued in society can sort of affect girls' confidence a lot, and you know, their self-belief, and you know, whether they feel valued in society or not, and that's, you know, completely damaging. Also, having such a blatant gender divide must be so harmful for anyone who isn't cisgender. I mean, for people who are cisgender anyway, because it's sort of, you know, you can be this or you can be that, but for people who aren't, like for the kids, obviously, it must be so sort of damaging and confusing to be told you have to be a little boy, you have to be a little girl, and little boys play with this, and little girls play with this, and you can't, you know, that must be such a sort of horrible thing to have to try and understand and deal with as a child. For parents and guardians as well, I think must be such an issue. Like, if you're going to a shop that's, you know, split down the middle, like blue on one side and pink on the other side, and to see your child learning and absorbing this strict binary that completely erases your existence, like that, I can't imagine how that must feel, you know? And I think that's such a damaging thing. Toys are powerful. Toys can sort of structure and aid learning, they can fuel the imagination, they can build on skills, and they obviously have like a lot of influence on children, and I think they can send a lot of messages that children pick up. Like, for example, Barbie is quite an obvious example, sends horrifically damaging messages to little girls about what they should aspire to look like, and what their body image should be. Toy guns and other sort of war-related toys can send the message that, you know, violence and destruction is fun and heroic, and what little boys should be doing. But I think toys can send really good messages as well, and I think it's all sort of intersectional, and we have to consider that. So, you know, if you giving a child a black Barbie with a big afro, that might help to send the message that, you know, being black is beautiful too. I think toys are such an obvious reflection on society. You know, you can see a lot about what our society thinks of itself and thinks people should be like from walking into a toy shop. which is kind of interesting. But they're such a reinforcer of the status quo as well as reflecting it. The messages that your children pick up from playing can, you know, go on further with them into later life. I think toys are really fascinating, and I think toys could sort of be an area in which a really focused feminist effort could be really, really, really useful and really good. So that's something to think about, and I'll see you next week. Bye.